Hi, I'm Anna Santana, and I am doing a research speech on Greek Orthodox weddings. Um, my purpose for this speech specifically is I just wanted to share a beautiful part of my religion and just talk about the traditions and meaning behind an Orthodox wedding. Have you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Well, I'll tell you the truth behind an actual Greek wedding. You're probably wondering, what do I know about Greek Orthodox weddings? Well, to tell you that I am actually Greek Orthodox, and as a 22-year-old, I have seen a lot of Greek weddings. A ton. In different shapes and forms. And I'm going to tell you what they all have in common. A Orthodox wedding is a giant milestone for a person's Orthodox faith, and it is a beautiful ceremony with many traditions and history inside it going on for hundreds of years, and still going on to this day. And so please come with me and let me tell you about what a beautiful ceremony a Greek Orthodox wedding is. What is a Greek Orthodox wedding? A Greek Orthodox wedding is very different from an ordinary wedding, but it has not changed in hundreds of years. One of the most important things about an Orthodox wedding is the crowning, which is part of the ceremony, which I will elaborate on in a bit. But I am going to start from the beginning. According to the Archdiocese of America, the wedding ceremony is in two parts: the betrothal ceremony and the ceremony of the crowning. These two, and some things you need for the overall ceremony is 2 rings, 2 candles, and 2 crowns, which are connected through string. And I will touch base on that when we get to that part. You also need a sponsor of good moral standing in the church, which I will talk about more later on. It seems like I keep saying that, but it's very important. But the thing you need most importantly is, of course, an engaged couple. Normally in Orthodox weddings, both are brought up Orthodox and up for the faith. But in some cases, when one is not and one is Orthodox, there is the person who is not has to convert. But there is one exception, when it's between a Catholic and an Orthodox Christian, because Orthodox Christians acknowledge a Catholic baptism. Since we used to be of the same church, we are allowed to marry one another with permission. Not permission from the Orthodox Church, but permission from a Catholic bishop on the Catholic person's end, and they have to give up their rights to having their child be baptized Catholic. Other than that, an Orthodox marriage between the two should have no bumps in the road. The first part of the service is mostly prayer. And the exchanging of the rings. The priest will pull the rings on the put the rings on the hands of the couple. Whoever the sponsor is will switch the rings between the couples 3 times. This is the betrothal ceremony, and you will notice if you watch the video of an Orthodox wedding that there is no speaking throughout the hair ceremony, especially the beginning. There's no ideals or vows. It's mostly just the couple listening and accepting what is ahead of them. After rings, there is a closing prayer for the betrothal ceremony. The betrothal ceremony is mostly just rings. And the first part of the... And the next part is the longest prayer of the ceremony. Turning back a bit to clarify on the sponsors. To clarify, the sponsor is someone of good standing in the church, and they will guide the couple to... Normally you choose the person who's going to be your sponsor / command to be the guide of your marriage, but also possibly your future children's godparents. In American Orthodox weddings, they're usually the best man or the maid of honor, but however, this is not a must. And it's not even a must for them to be the godparents of your future kids, but normally that's just how it goes. A cool tad bit is the only female I interviewed, who was my former Sunday school teacher, Miss Jeannie, told me that in the old times in the villages that the godparents of the couple would be the sponsors of the wedding. Anyway, the most important thing about the sponsor in the wedding is to guide the couple in their marriage. Same way in the baptism, you expect the godparents of the child to guide them throughout their spiritual life. A sponsor is to guide the couple during their spiritual life as husband and wife. The Greek Orthodox crowning ceremony is the second part of the wedding, and my personal favorite, I would say. The priest gives each part of the couple, the bride and the groom, a candle, very big candle, and lights it for them, and the couple has to hold it, and it symbolizes wellness and willingness to accept God into their lives in the marriage. After the two couples' left hands are put together, while the other one is holding the candle, and 3 prayers are read out loud. The prayers speak of the past, the present, and it goes from the time of Abraham and from Adam and Eve to the time of today, and the couple's future as a family unit after the ceremony. While the couple holds hands, the priest will bless the crowns, and the following statement is repeated 3 times in the front of the groom and then 3 times in front of the bride. And the statement goes, servant of God, groom's name is crowned for the servant of God, the bride's name, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then after this, the priest will place the crowns on the heads of the bride and the groom, and on the hand of, and this will be repeated. And on the head of the bride and groom, the chant a verse from Psalms 8, O Lord, our God, crown them with glory and honor. Crowning of the crowning symbolizes the role of king and queen of the household, in which God is putting them together in peace and love. After that, there's the common cup and the reading of the gospel, which speaks to the first miracle of Jesus that happened at a wedding, which was the wedding in Canaan where he turned water into wine. And the common cup connects to that, as the couple drinks from the same cup 3 times each of wine. This symbolizes that the couple will share everything in life, joy as well as sorrow, and joy will be doubled, and the sorrow shall become shallow. However, the cup of life has its store for them, and they will share equally. Coming towards the end is the procession. The procession is the history behind the procession is that in the old times, couples would make a procession to their future homes as husband and wife, and that would be their first steps as husband and wife. However, that is very uncommon nowadays, and it's mostly a walk around the table of the church 3 times now. While the couples walk around the church, the priest is leading them with the Holy Gospel in his hand. And the meaning behind this is to symbolize that the couple is knowingly taking Christ into their marriage from the beginning, even in their first steps. While this is going on, there are hymns being sung, and the hymns basically wish the couple. Well, these three hymns speak of, the first one speaks of the incredible joy that Isaac, the joy Isaiah the prophet experienced when he encouraged the coming of the Messiah upon earth. The second reminds us of the mercy of faith who will receive their crowns and glory of God and in their sacrifice of life. And the third reminds the newlyweds of the sacrifice love that they must have for one another in marriage. The third one and the last that of the couple is truly an example of the Holy Trinity. Just to add on, the altar will contain the cross, the gospel, and the couple will kiss the cross towards the end of the ceremony. All the things in the altar have a significant meaning, and they all pretty much add up to the glory that represents the education of future children to come, the bride and the groom taking their first steps together as a married couple, and the priests respecting the church and leading them into the divine, which is to walk. We're not towards the end right away, but we're getting there. And that is when the couple takes off their crowns. And so the bride and the groom return to their original places before the procession around the table, and they will be blessed by the priest and take off their crowns. And basically, the priest will grant and imply to God to grant the couple a very long and happy and fruitful long life together. And when the bride and the groom have returned to their original places, as I previously mentioned, the priest faces the groom and says to be magnified as Abraham, be blessed as Isaac, and be as increased as Jacob. This part makes me laugh a little because to be increased as Jacob, or basically implies to have many children. Basically, the same thing is said to the bride, because it says he turns to the bride. This is from a thing I was given to read about this topic. O bride, be magnified as Sarah, be rejoiced as Rebecca, and be increased as Rachel, and be glad in your husband in keeping in the path of the Lord. So as pleased. So going back to the increased part as Rachel and Jacob, this always makes me laugh because if you don't know, they had many children. 12 to be exact. So yeah, that makes me laugh because yeah. I just always found that funny. So like when that is said at a wedding, I do chuckle a little bit because it's like, yeah, that's a lot. And to end this small part of the ceremony, like I previously mentioned, he removes the crowns, blah blah blah, and basically tells the couple that in their marriage they are king and queen, and in their kingdom they are unsullified and without offense to the ages of ages. And the priest then lifts the gospel and basically says towards this part, and as they're united now, the priest says, what God has joined together, let no man put arms, which means no one separate them. So we have gotten to the end of this part of the wedding. And basically, when the crowns are taken off and everything is said and done, the priest wishes the couple a very happy marriage reminds them that they are equals in the eyes of God, which means that men should not think that they are only in the pants in this relationship, because we're both supposed to wear the pants. And a lot of people forget that sometimes. Well, and then the priest also wishes them good health and rejoice in their marriage. So yes, I just wanted to say thank you for just listening to what I have to say, and to credit my sources where the Archdiocese, two wedding blogs from Orthodox vlogs, blogs of Orthodox weddings, and my interviews with three priests: Father Gregory, Father George, Father Nick, and Miss Judy, my former Sunday school teacher. And they're, yeah, just wanted to thank everyone for those who helped me and for those who listened. Thank you. Bye.